Hello there, ladies and gents. Earlier stream than usual. That's for damn sure. I like that. Mexi, a turn at a reasonable time. I live in New Zealand. Yeah, well that's it, isn't it, Mexi? You just live in the wrong place, my dude. I do nicely. Lee, good to have you, my man. We were going to do the turn last night, but Dadman had sent us by mistake the wrong save. He'd sent a save where he hadn't actually ended the turn, so we couldn't actually run said save. So we're going to go ahead and do that today. A few hours apart. Hell of a ride. Oh, was up early this morning, so if I do sound a little bit like ugh, it's because I'm still waking up. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look then, shall we? The plan for Kilgore likely would be to operate with Shoho. The reason why I would run them separate is when Kilgore is in Kitapatai's maximum range, well, maximum amount of hexes she can cover on mission speed is about 8 hexes. Whilst without Kilgore they can make 9. So that is 8 with mission speed, 16 on full, or 9 mission speed and 18 on full. So it makes quite a considerable difference. It means that we're actually able to keep up with the American carriers. How you doing there, Batman? Yeah, good to have you, my man. Hello there, Krupp. Good to see you too, my man. My mans. Yeah, I know you feel like that, Krupp. Okay. So Moonlight is decreasing. It's a shame, I was looking forward to actually making some use of it. But that's fine, that's fine. It's nearly 8 PM for me. Yeah, Mex is the only one who's actually awake here, isn't he? Right, so that was a quite night phase then. Which, usually when you would strike. I did go ahead and actually send a second cruiser group to Port Blair. So do see the allied ships there, AP. That's interesting. Apparently 10 ships here. Yeah, it definitely looks like... Okay, so AK, Luckenberg class. We did... Oh, Euro M. C3E cargo class. I think they're usually quite large ships there as well, but we are getting some very good information here. We do see some ships just off of Port Moresby. Okay, interesting. So I'm saying the G4M wants to go ahead and hit these torpedo boats, but these PTs and AMs, they're using bombs, so... yeah. Oh, there we go. So got a 250 kilogram bomb into her. That's quite nice. Yeah, there we go. So fairly good accuracy. So right now there's an AM. We know there's a patrol craft, so at least I could take a look at what altitude to use against them. But I mean, 6,000 is likely going to be the best we get. We will be hitting Manilla here today. Ideally, we do see success at Manilla today. He's down to no fortifications, so all this is it. We just need a good roll, and we will be able to overrun Manilla. I mean, the chances of it actually happening today are higher, so we'll have to see about that. I mean, we took Clark when it still had level 1 fortifications and it was times 3 terrain, so crazier things have happened. So apparently he does have aircraft, and he came with 2 allied level bombers there, which is interesting enough. I don't know why he's based with these aircraft here. He must have some sort of reason, which is quite worrisome. But then I don't know, sometimes it's hard to fathom why... But then again, I suppose this is the question, isn't it? It's like, if you don't consider the aircraft worth... I mean, this is it, yeah, 2 Catalans. This is it, if you know you're going to get bored and you're playing for a long game, does it really matter if it gives you information that you're looking for at that moment in time? Maybe not. I'm not too sure. It's definitely a different outlook playing as the Allies. But I'm not going to say no to a chance to damage PP-wise. Definitely no. No problems with that. I imagine these pilots must have gained some experience from this. We are seeing flak here, but the flak just does not seem to hit us, which is quite good. So I'm quite happy about that. So they're damaged again then. Whether they're the same ones or different ones, I'm not too sure. Bomb the Chinese forces out here. Yeah, and it keeps stripping away his offensive AV, which is useful. I'm going to move a unit over here to block his path. Move a unit back into Hong Kong. Right. So I kind of expected this could come at some point. So we are seeing some A24 Banshees. So she takes a £1,000 bomb. Now these guys are carrying engineers, so it would always happen at this point in time. So we'll see. She misses. They miss. Okay. So take... Ooh. We do see ships here as well. Interesting. Now, we didn't actually anticipate this, so we do have our cap low. So he's coming quite aggressively. That's interesting. So it looks like he's definitely going to be attacking towards Moresby. He always knows when the F to come in, doesn't he? And it's amazing we have a H6K4s, but just don't have our forewarning. But he must have come in at full speed. Well, he's in now. So that gives us the opportunity to tangle with him. So PC there. It's interesting reports PC. I do wonder if we get some more accurate information there. Possibly so. I just put one ship, one bomb into a ship there, which okay. We'll see. It may be that we continue to head to Ley. Right, attacking the AM. Yeah, still take a couple passes there to hit all the ships, but eventually it will be done. Right, so we see some Hudsons. Yeah, we do have our Key 27s defending here, and the Key 27s do now fall. But I think they're so they're attacking sub-chasers here, but they can definitely wipe out our sub-chaser, but yeah, not a thing I want to go on. Hey, Landmark. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Right, so you see more Banshees, but we do have some Zeros defending. Well, we have a fuckload of Zeros defending here, actually. That's a lot more than 3. That's a lot more than 3. And I think we are quite low here, so we might be able to shoot down all the Banshees and be rid of them, actually. That's quite nice. And we have another 2 Zeros there. Yeah, the Zeros are like, let's get on this bitch. I mean, imagine a lot of them would actually train in flight, so they probably might not be as effective. But we're shooting a couple of them down, so I'll take it. Yeah, they are the Army's SBD Dauntless. A couple more join in. There's another one damage there. And damage. Low on ammunition. Low on ammunition. Yeah, so the vast majority of them weren't on training. So they're not going to actually respond as effectively. There is a bit of flak here. A24 damaged by flak. Right, we do get another pass here. There we go, yeah, shooting down some live targets. So that's a shame. Obviously, had they all been on cap, he would have been annihilated there. But we do shoot down at least one of them, damage a few more. I don't think it's going to be as like to do that again. I mean, they were on 10% cap, 90% train. Okay. But that's not too bad, then. So we took one bomb hit. I mean, the heavy fires suck, but it's not too bad. Swordfish is a pain in the arse. If she doesn't get damage, I do not know. There's 220 mines in here. I do not know how he can continue to operate and not be hit. It's incredible sometimes. Well, I mean, this is it. We didn't expect the A24 Banshees. I was saying to Infinite Monkey last night, it's weird we haven't seen the A24 Banshees, but there we go. Right, so we are attacking here in Manila. So he does have forces then just to south of Ley and in the Solomon Sea. That is interesting. We didn't see carriers, as far as we're aware, so that's going to be an interesting one. So, yeah, we hit the A24 Banshees, but well, this is it. He's going to be aware now that we have at least 29 Zeros there. We will rouse the Kid Up a Tie, potentially, depending on what the nature of the threat is. Should be alright, really. I don't think I'll have Karga ready immediately as she's in for repair. But we'll have her brought up to service. But she probably wouldn't have been required anyway. How you doing there, Time to Collision? Good to have you, my man. And we'll have to take a look at the nature of the threat. In fairness, we do have the ability to respond. I do have some mines at lay as well, which is well, about 69 mines at lay, actually. If they make a difference or not, who knows? I mean, I've lost a lot of faith in mines. Lost a lot of faith. But we can but hope. We're on turn 63, so yeah, significantly more advanced than the THG game. Not in terms of actual time, but in terms of actual objectives gained, then yes we are. Hopefully we'll have Manilla today. Okay. So we do see the 71st over here then. 1st Filipino Infantry Division, yeah. And the Filipino units do well behind defensive fortifications. We'll see. I always want to speed this up, but then I always do enjoy actually seeing the combat, because you actually do get to see which units are being damaged. There's not that many that have that much strength. Still the bombard in here. And these divisions over here are wiped out, so imagine those are divisions that did fight at Clark. I mean, that's 3 divisions there that are wiped out, more or less. Which does make a difference. Constabulary is nearly wiped out there. Do you have any tank divisions, or is it mainly airborne marines? Well, this is, we have the 21st Division, the 38th Division, the 48th Division, the 2nd Division of the 65th Brigade. I do have a 2nd Tank Regiment in here, and I do have multiple units of heavy artillery. We do have engineers in here as well. The actual divisions themselves do have tanks. We have a command HQ down here to the south. We have 14th Army that is actually on location, obviously prepping, everybody's prepping for Manila. So we have about as good as we can get here. More tanks might have been nice, but hey, it's one of these things really. We'll work with what we've got. But we do have tanks built into the TOEs. And the 38th Division's in really good shape. 420, 419 here. 2nd Division could do with being replenished. Well, it's not that they're beaten up terribly, it's just that they need to have their disabled squads recovered. Yeah. We'll see. I feel like I'm indulging myself here alone. I apologize, guys. I just like to see how things actually turn out, because I do think it's quite useful at times. So it looks like we are starting attacks. The 21st goes in there. See that AV decrease, obviously, with the attacks. There's always one formation or one division that comes off worse than the others. And that's always because they're the ones that are first into the breach. Ideally, we have a good roll. Well, we destroyed a unit there, so that's one unit gone, which is usually a good sign. 20th Independent Engineers are attacking, but he has no fortification. The airfield has been truly suppressed now, so there's been no change in fortifications. So all these attacks are going through. The only thing that's mitigating their effectiveness is obviously the terrain here, which is ×2. 2nd Tank Division, so Tank Regiment attacking here. I don't know. It might go today. There's every chance it could go today. But it's one of those of it will fall soon enough. Right, 2nd Division's now attacking. Try to find which unit is being attacked here. Not too sure. Now, he does have 2 Philippine corps in here, which really help him out considerably, because obviously that gives him the support there. Obviously he does have the headquarters, so that makes it fight harder. We do have some higher level headquarters over here, but as to how much they affected, I'm not too sure. So 38th is attacking now. Right, so you can see a unit drop down there. Their AV staying pretty good, actually. 21st went down considerably because obviously it launched the first attack, it seems. No, there's no US military divisions in China this time. You could say British technically in Hong Kong, but they begin their outbreak of war. Yep, we have been getting into grids for the Flying Tigers, VAVG. Okay. Yeah, that's why I do like to watch actual results here, because well, the actual battle process, at least you actually get a feel for what's going on here. Because it's really hard to, like, gauge how effective your attacks are sometimes. You might be causing, like, losses you might have destroyed, but you could be attacking units that are already beaten up. So units that have AV that you've got to really focus on. And it's difficult because obviously there's so many units here, so the attacks are spread out. When you fight against less opponents, it's actually better than to fight against more opponents. I mean, arguably, if all that AV was concentrated into one unit, it'd be easier to attack that one unit than it would be to attack all these units here. Even though it's the same AV, it's easier to target one unit because you bombard that one unit. It just takes a lot more fire than separate units. So... I don't know if we'll get it today. I don't know if we've had a good enough result. I'm hoping that we will do. But I think either way, Manila will fall soon enough. If it doesn't fall today, we'll probably attack again by the 10th of February. But either way, it's quicker. It'll fall sooner than it did in history. Right, we'll speed things up, man. Let's hope for the best. Banzai! Yes! And they're scuttled in port. Fantastic news, and they're all surrendering here. Oh, that's what I wanted. Yes, Banzai. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at those units there. Oh my.
The ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Manila.
That is exactly what I wanted there. And with that is essentially the fall of Luzon. All that remains now is to clean Bataan up and to clean up the two Philippine divisions here. Excellent news. Excellent, excellent news. So we destroy 3 Catalinas in here then. That's very good. Quite happy about that. Oh shit, wow. So the Defender had run out of supply. That's crazy. Oh my god. That's absolutely insane. That is actually insane. So I wonder then, did he actually funnel his supply down here to to Bataan? He might have actually wanted to fall back to Bataan and then been forced to fall back to Manila. But that's incredible. So we only take 2,472 casualties in the final battle. Nowhere near as many disabled this time around. 6 squads destroyed, so all of this can be recovered. Destroyed obviously would have to be replaced, but all these disabled can be recovered. So 215 squads disabled, which would probably be the division I saw take a big hit in AV. But obviously that's spread out there. That's not too bad. 1 non-combatant destroyed, 19 disabled, 2 engineers destroyed, 64 disabled, 1 gun destroyed, 25 disabled, 1 vehicle lost, 1 destroyed, 32 disabled. But there we go, we net ourselves just shy of 26,000 allied forces there. 1,000 squads destroyed, 2,521 non-combatants destroyed, 82 engineers destroyed, 414 guns lost, 482 vehicles destroyed. Now it's 29 units destroyed, and Manila has been captured. That is what we need there, ladies and gentlemen, indeed. We will get quite a nice amount of VP there. So I'm bombarding over here, then touching gauge how strong his forces are. We do see a shitload of forces over here, a shitload of base forces. That's actually really impressive, man. Manado, Kanduri. Oh, that's really impressive, then. So, turn 8. So, he must have actually flown out elements of these units, then, to recover them in the future, then. That's actually really interesting. So, I imagine what he was doing here, then, was flying probably elements of those base forces out from the different bases. You can see we have Ternat, Jajambi, Palembang, Tiljian, however you want to pronounce that, Tarakan, Ambon. There's a lot of different units there. That's actually really, really quite interesting. So you can see we disabled 2 squads there. That's really quite interesting, man. Yeah, look at that. Ambon. So I mean that's Ambon there. Tarakan all the way from over here. Palembang. That's really interesting. Bernardo. I mean Bernardo's over here. That's that's crazy. And it's crazy there. I mean, that might have been what he was actually attempted to do then when he had the APs here. Whether or not we stop that is another question, but we do find a hell of a lot of remnants of former vanquished foes here, which is intriguing. We are attacking over here at Langsar, so yeah, Langsar base force will be destroyed, I'd imagine, today. They'll likely retreat on towards the north. 80 to 1. Oh, they surrender! Well, there we go, that's what I wanted there. That makes things a lot easier then. So we force the Langsar base force to surrender. Yeah, only 121 troops there. We'll march on towards Sabang. That's a good day for us today then. So that's a sneaky little thing. So that explains a lot of what he has been doing. Maybe that is what he was doing at Manilla then, trying to fly out a unit to try and save them. Because if you have a fragment of a unit, you can rebuild said unit. That's interesting, because you don't have to pay PP then to actually have it rebuilt. So we are attacking over here to Kuching again. I'm hoping it is worthwhile attacking all these days in a row. There's not much AV left here. He has no fortifications. I'm hoping they'll be able to take it. So if I can take Kuching, I'd be quite happy. We'll have the entirety of Borneo under our control then. 51 to 29. Oh, see, damn it. Yeah, that's the problem. He built fortifications back on. So fatigue. Okay, we'll have to rest then. I could do some bombers on Kuching then, just keep it suppressed. I was hoping we'd take it today, but I guess not. That's a shame. Close. Close with no cigar. Fatigue obviously impacted on us there. So they don't surrender. I don't know where they're getting that supply from. He might be flying supply in there, but yeah. They're taking losses. So he's continuing to bombard. So his AV has been reduced there as well. 16 AV total. Shows you how much he's got left. So we do have our shit. That's the 17th Indian Division, okay. That's significantly stronger than I had actually anticipated, so that unit's crossed over here then. So the Thai forces are going to have a bad day, but what we'll have to do then is march our divisions north. Well, we'll consider that. We still have a hex here. Attacker supply minus. So not too bad on the way of actual casualties. We are in times 2 terrain here, I think. That's a very interesting development then. So he's brought out a division, which is the 17th Indian Division. So I wonder how much he has here in Rangoon then in terms of AV. I'll have to take a look at an allied start to figure out where the 17th Division comes from. Because we have a division here. We will probably have a second division in here. That's a very bold move. But the thing is, it's far too late. The Thai force is already here to the north. It does make it difficult. We still have the hex side. We should still have control of the roads both north and south. I do have another Thai detachment marching to the north there. So, he managed to move that in today. I wonder if it was in the wrong operations mode. Doesn't seem like it. So we took some casualties. We didn't inflict a lot of casualties, or really much on the Indian Division now, which is not too surprising. But that's interesting then. It does make me wonder. So had that come out, that must have come out of Rangoon then. So it might be that we do go ahead and actually attack Rangoon earlier than we first had anticipated. But we have Thai units in that hex. It's difficult fighting units such as that in times 2 terrain. I mean, this is the first time we're really tangling with a proper allied division as such. But that's something we can work against. I can bring in bombers to hit the hell out of it. But if I cut the cord of Rangoon, so we do see a number of forces out here, which is interesting. Severe storms don't give us much in the way of information there. One brigade from the 17th starts at Rangoon, other 2 around India. Interesting. So we'll go ahead and save it here. But that's good. I mean, the thing is, we're bringing 4 divisions, artillery, tanks. We're bringing essentially everything bar in the kitchen sink to Burma. So that's good. If we can actually engage that, I'm going to be quite happy. Now, they don't have that much there. Obviously, they had lost a lot of that AV attacking, which sucks. I do have the RTC moving north over here, the first RTA supplement to combat mode. Right. That's interesting. Now, what I will do then is I'm going to cancel the movement to the 4th RTA. We'll have 4th RTA then head south. If I take a look, I mean, it actually depends, really. Yeah, you can see that we do have Hexi control here. It might be that I just retain 4 RTA here, because that's jungle. Oh, so we're in clear terrain here, then. That's good to know, then. That's good to know. Obviously, it doesn't help us. He's obviously going to be able to push us out of that hex. But the good news is we do have control. Yeah, we see that we have supply here. There's an issue, and I think this is only during the monsoon season, I think it is, where you can only have like a certain amount of supply push into the base. But that's fine. That's enough supply to keep us going for a while. We do have enough AV to hold onto this hex. So if we take a look over here, yeah, he's stripped. I mean, we have really bad detection over Rangoon today for some reason. So he's moved a unit over here, which is interesting. He hasn't shocked across the river. He might not even have any AV in that. Very bold move. Very bold move. That's somewhat worrying, but we do have naval attack set up. What we'll do is have the actual subs here. I do have the cruisers here. If needs be, I can have them actually put into port at BLeAcHACiD or to Voy, and they'll be safe. If I take a look over here then today, you can see that we do have additional forces arriving. Yeah, the 17th Division is inevitably going to be destroyed. It's going to be a pain in the arse, but it's inevitably going to be destroyed. So you can see that we are unloading elements of the Imperial Guard Division today. Okay. So you can see that the 33rd Division is still here in position. So you can see then we have 2 full divisions now, I think. Oh, they're still actually aboard the ships here, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. Okay. Imperial Guard is now here. We have elements of the 5th Division unloading. Yeah, still elements of the 33rd Division now. And supply. Okay. So we have there, yeah, the element of the 1st RTA that's moved in to take that hex side to the south. Right, so I can't move there, obviously, due to that I don't have hex side ownership. Let me double check when I can't march to the north. I don't think I will be able to, but it's not saying that I can't. I don't know if I can march that way. It looks like it's going to march that way to march that way. So what I'm going to do then is have it march this way. Because I can't march through his hex, so it'd obviously take me around anyway. So I'm going to have them march into Bigu. I mean, I could potentially keep them here, but I'd rather... I don't feel the TIE divisions are worthwhile attacking Rangoon with. I mean, maybe. Maybe. It's definitely interesting, because we see now the AV has swung. That's an interesting development there. He's definitely keeping us on our toes. I mean, this is it. We had a quiet couple of turns. We knew something was going to eventually have to happen. Yeah, I'm not getting good information here on Rangoon, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. I do see the numbers have dropped off, but I can't really get a good estimation of how much. But we are aware of a division here. Okay. So we'll manage that. Issues, I could move them to the north, and this is it, it's clear terrain, so it's not really worthwhile moving them in anything other than combat mode. It might be that I keep them here, but we'll see. I could have 33rd move north to Bigu, and that would help to keep that division in check. But, I mean, if we take a look at it this way, there's not much he's going to get here. He's taken his forces out of Rangoon. I think that might have been his ace in the hole there, really, his wild card. And it's a very good wild card movement. He moved a unit in here to take control of that. And that's what he's been trying to do then. He's been trying to cut this rail line here and roadway. But the thing is, I don't think he's been able to account for the fact that we've been bringing in additional forces each and every turn, really. And you take a look over here, we have the rest of 5th Division. They would have arrived at Bigu had we not delayed them. But well. So I do have that moving there. I may have to delay about another day just to make sure it is safe. And it's one of those. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, but we do have to make sure our assets are safe and actually arrive intact. But it gives us a chance to tangle with him. And this is it. I mean, it's a pain in the arse, but the good news is we do have the RTA to the north, which is 129 AV. We know he's got, well, he had roughly like 100-ish AV there. First Burma Division is the other big fighting force in Burma. I don't know whereabouts that is. But I mean, this is it. It has changed things over here to Rangoon. It might be worth bombarding Rangoon to get an idea of how strong he is. It might be that I just have the 33rd head north over here. But if I take a look, then at 35 miles, there is a chance that they could arrive at Rangoon for a fight, but I don't think it's potentially worthwhile doing. I think I will keep them marching there. In fairness, I don't think I need to worry about losing Pegu. Yeah. We do have the 14th Tank Regiment now, which is finally on the major road, so we're going to have the 14th Tank Regiment arrive at Pegu shortly. I mean, Pegu is clear terrain, but we are going to have a number of forces brought in here. There's no engineers here, sadly. Enough supply. Interesting move. He really does like to keep us on our toes, which is fun. Yeah, we do have these elements of Imperial Guard. I might just have them picked up by a ship in SunYan and moved over here to Pegu. Probably quicker. No, I can't imagine there'd be much now at Rangoon, so that's something to bear in mind there. We might attack at Rangoon, see how it goes. Yeah, so we do see these guys are moving to Pegu. We'll either bombard or go for a deliberate attack. It's a little bit of a shame because I don't have much in the way of actual detection. Excuse me. But I can't imagine he has that much. He's moved a number of units out there. I mean, this is it. He's looking to evacuate this area, really, which is why he's moving here to cover these hex sites. He's trying to make sure he has control of this. But in fairness, it's eventually going to collapse. There's not much you can do about that. Right, yep, there we go. We do have our forces now in the field. And ready to rock off with their socks off. And that's 4,000 assault value there. That's a lot of power. That is a lot of power. Alright, they're marching. I'm like, where the hell did they come from? But there they are. So we'll tell everybody to follow them then. Might as well keep that in progress. So we'll tell them to follow them. And there we go. And the march upon SunYan begins. So we have 116th A detachment, 25th, 23rd, 11th, 12th, 10th, 32nd, 36th, 110th, led by the 13th and 12th armies. You can see the amount of guns that we have here, you can see the tanks that we have here. Everybody's in good shape, everybody's pretty much good to go there. Eager and ready. Preparations up. Could be higher, but it's pretty good nonetheless. With reinforcements to take these battles here. So he did move out of his hex. But what I can do then is I can go ahead and just follow him then, really. Keep up the attacks on his forces there. No reason as to not. Make sure they are marching to the right hex. We'll check on the aircraft losses and ship losses in a moment. Yeah, look at that. 12,248. So that was worth a lot. Yeah, Allied army lost points. We'd have to take a look at what it was last turn versus this turn. But you can see that's obviously jumped up there. Obviously we gained from bases as well, which is nice. So base points there, reducing his base points, whatever his base points are. There we go, yep. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's up the top, my bad. You can tell it's morning. So we do have, wow. So he loses 7 Catalinas here today. That's a pretty hefty loss there. That's half of the losses he's had in the game today, apparently. 4 A24s go down here, which is good. PPY 5 Catalina goes down. He's lost quite a few aircraft here today, but quite importantly, a lot of Catalinas, which is good. Very happy about that. We do see a number of ships actually scuttled in port, apparently. So I don't think they were able to move, which is why they were scuttled. So that's 19 victory points there. That's a nice big ship there, Dominion. Yeah, that's a big boy. A big boy. Yeah, very nice. Slow, but very nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at Manilla. Feels good to save that, man. So. Right, okay. So we do see damage there. Light industry, 25 of that is damaged. So about 25% of that is damaged. We do have 75% still in operations, which is excellent news. The repair shipyard we can repair. There's only 5,000 supply expenditure there. Resources, about 25% there as well. Manpower, about a third there. All in all, not bad at all. All in all, not bad at all. I will set that to repair. Light industry is not worthwhile repairing, in my opinion. And there we go. So what do we have then in Manila? I wish you could tell exactly how much supply. Obviously, this will be mostly our supply. The base itself obviously has damage here from our own attacks. 5,000 fuel in there is nice. Naval support. What the hell's the naval support coming from? Must be like some sort of headquarters or something like that. Very nice. But that's essentially it now. All that remains behind, all that remains to us is just cover these hexes. What I can do here then is cancel their movement. I was going to have them move to the north, but there's no need now. They can remain in there. And we'll just take it from there, really. 5th Fleet is still here. I might have 5th Fleet shifted up. I could actually technically move it through here, but I'd have to move another unit here to make sure it was safe. So if we take a look at our forces then. Fatigue and disruptions up there. TOEs are not too bad. What I could do then potentially is, and I think it's worthwhile resting here to begin with. It's a decently large base. So port capacity and air capacity 6, 7, 8. So I think we might be exempt from malaria effects here in Manila. I think so. I could potentially build that airfield up, but I don't think we need to. We'll have it repaired nonetheless. But what I'm going to do here then is have our forces temporarily rest. And that's going to be excellent. So what I'm going to do here then to actually expedite the process. Divide. That can't be divided, sadly. You can see 65th Brigade. It's still got a lot of its strength, it's just mostly disabled here. We've had a number of hard battles. I think we'll have to take a look at a game start and take a look at the actual strength of these formations versus, well, strength, what I mean by that is like morale and experience. And take a look at how they've shaped up. Actually, I think I can look at that on the tracker, actually. Yeah. Right, okay, so you can see that we do have divisions divided here. They will recover a hell of a lot faster like this. Have them recover. And actually, that's clear terrain there. I could potentially have a tank division sent down that way. Yeah, quite a few of the medium tanks there are disabled, so we'll give them some time to recover. The artillery I'm going to have recover. Ideally, they can take on some replacements too. Some of the TOEs are a little bit short. I mean, they don't look bad, but it depends really on the guns. Yeah, the 28cm howitzers are back in action, which is good. What are my big boy mortars? Okay, yeah, the big boy mortars are good. In fact, what it might be worthwhile doing is actually marching the artillery out. Possibly. I think I might get the artillery moving out, man. Yeah, we'll get the artillery march into Clark. I'll give the infantry a day or so to rest in Manila. Though then again, I could potentially march them to Clark. I might just march them to Clark, actually. Do I just march everything to Clark? I mean, this is it. Clark is... I mean, technically it's size 10, because it's got size 2 ports, and it's got V8. I mean, we technically do have more support here as well. I might just march to Clark instead, actually. Yeah, we'll march to Clark. We'll march to Clark. I will have to leave units behind here, then, to act as garrison. We'll march there. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 days on the road, but at least then it's 2 days where I'm actually in a position where I need to launch my offensive from, and we'll have them just recovering Clark. There's more support in Clark, after all. So we're going to have them march there. Set all to march. Then ops mode. Then what I'll do is have 65th Brigade remain here. In rest mode. Now... I'll have a 2nd Tank Regiment remain here as well. That'll give us 39. That's 68 AV. Should recover fairly quickly. One would hope. We'll go ahead and double check that. Too early to do maths. Right, so 68 and what was it? 39. So that gives us about 107 AV. Obviously we need a little bit more. But that should recover quickly enough. What I'm going to do then... I mean, I could leave behind these engineers, because they do have an AV. I mean, that gives another 18. But... which would take us to 125. But I don't think it's worthwhile leaving the engineers behind. I might as well take them with me. The things with the independent engineers, they're brilliant at the start. But you see these IJ engineer squads, they're not actually part of the TOE. So once they're gone forever. So you have to really spend them wisely. So... it may be worthwhile just leaving them here, really. I think I actually... yeah, I think I will. I think I will leave them here. We'll have them in combat mode. We can go ahead and actually begin to repair the base itself. I don't want to lose them. Because I don't get that back. So I think we want to try and shepherd as much of those extra IJ engineers as we can. The IJ engineers in the divisions do come back. They do recover. And there's an entire regiment of engineers inside every division anyway. So they'll recover soon enough. So yeah, we'll keep that there. So I'll have about 125 or so AV, and it should recover quickly enough. I do have... yes, I do have the 82nd and the 65th Naval Guards moving in here to act as garrison anyhow. In theory, I don't know, in all honesty, I could potentially land them on one of these bases and have them used against Susana, but I'll have tanks move there. Tanks will definitely be good. Maybe it's worthwhile having tanks there, but the tanks move quickly anyway, so I might as well just have them rest. And the time it takes them to march to Clark, I mean, they'll have like 2-3 days rest. So we can make a decision there. But there we go, we have Manilla. I'll have to clear a mines in the future. That's very nice. You can see that base was worth 550 VP to us, obviously it was worth 1,100 to him. So he loses 1,100, we gain 550, obviously we gain from taking the units out there. It's a shame they don't get that equipment, frankly. But yeah, I can imagine you'd just have to assume it'd be spiked, essentially. Now that's an interesting development down here. And this is it, I do have these units here as well. I might just have to mass the AV here. But I would like to make sure we can cover their retreats. So I'd have to move in a armoured unit down here. I might actually have the 8th Tank Regiment moved in here to take that. But we can take this at a good pace. So there is a unit over here then in this house. We'll have to take a look. I'm going to have to use paratroopers to secure hexes here. I could even potentially have paratroopers dropped on that base. It's rough terrain. I could potentially have paratroopers dropped here then to seize this. There's 10 auxiliaries over here. Jungle rough, which is bloody pain in the arse. I think what we need to do then is move to cut off his line of retreat. Everything can't do anything. I don't know why they're not heading back. They're still unloading, but I don't know why they're continuing to unload. Frankly. Okay, so we hit one of them. It's good, okay. Now, in all honesty, things are going well. Things are going very well. I think what I'll do then is have them set up for a bombardment attack then, and we'll go ahead and we'll see how strong the enemy is there. We do have plenty of preparation there, 81 preparation. Very good. 33rd. I think I will continue to march in combat mode to Rangoon. Because this is it. I mean, it's 2 days in, 2 days out. Near enough. I do have additional forces I will continue to unload. I do have naval attack over here to 12 hexers. So once they're in here, we can definitely rest assured that we will be able to strike against them if they move in here. It's interesting, we've seen a lot of... Ah, there we go. So we do see the AKs here. So he might be trying to move in reinforcements. That might be what he's actually trying to do here. But if I take a look at what we have in the area, I mean, there's a heavy cruiser here. There's 2 heavy cruisers here. Light cruiser. Light cruiser. Heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser. 2 light cruisers. Heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser. A heavy cruiser for a bruiser. Essentially. Indeed. I do have... Are they the heavy cruisers I said north? Did I send them north? I might have sent them north. Let me double check. I might have actually forgot to send them in the end. No, I sent them. Okay. So yeah, we have a number of cruisers in the north there. That's a lot of cruisers. I mean, if I take a look then, let's see. This is light cruiser there too. We'll count the heavy cruisers we have in the area then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's 9 heavy cruisers, a number of light cruisers, a lot of destroyers in the area. So what we'll probably do then is we'll have actual vulnerable assets put into port, so like the Void or Mugu. It's one of these of where it is worthwhile having them safely in position, rather than being somewhat exposed to potential enemy action. I'd rather have them in port where they can be safe. It means that we can actually concentrate on fighting here, which is obviously what we want. We have the units over here, and he might be trying to push in towards Mugu. So that might be where we mass our forces, but the good news is I do have the majority here. There's a good amount of force here that can actually resist too. And it might be that I just have submarines that should concentrate, maybe... I mean, that's Ocean Shell, which kind of sucks, so maybe we have subs concentrating this area here. Hard to say. But the good news is, come daytime, come the AM phases, PM phase, that's when we're going to launch a lot of actual attacks here. So it might be that we have the actual zeros. That were due to sweep today as well. So that has gone down. So bad weather. Yeah, so it looks like it's poor weather over the area here. That makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. Right, yeah. We'll go ahead and check over here then. We're seeing a lot of forces there. That's interesting. So, I think he might be coming in for a bombardment then. That seems to be the way of things. She took a shitload of damage. Bloody hell. That's a lot of damage. So she's going to go down sooner or later there. It might simply be that I have her unload over here in port. In this port, on the island of Umboy. But we'll see. He's always good at picking his bloody times. He's a freaking genius when it comes to picking his times. So it might have been to distract us this way, but we'll see. I mean, Kidapata is not too far away. 16. It could be potentially worth the sprint in to make sure we have carriers there, but I don't think it's probably worth that. Could have carriers here. But I mean, you take a look at the zeros that we had here, then obviously they were on 10% cap. Yeah. So you can see they're actually light in the airfields here today. He's good at that. He's good at this. I mean, this is the thing here. He knows that we have a lot of forewarning, so what else is it? So, I mean, this is it. It might be worthwhile to potentially bring in Kidbatai at a high speed, perhaps. I mean, this is the thing. It's hard to judge sometimes. And the good news is if he goes for Rangoon, so if he goes for Rabal, then we have a lot of fences there. Lane, not so much. He's not, well, he's aware of some of these assets over here. But the good news is these guys have unloaded, so I can disband them here. Had I kept these supplying here, we could create PT boats, but a little bit off that, which is a shame. So in fairness, I mean, the only things that we can't get out of here are the assets that are already damaged. I mean, that over here is already damaged, so I could potentially have that unloaded on Boy. Those fires are really bad, so it might be that we just leave it on Boy. The rest of them can get the hell out of Dodge, which is good news. Obviously, these are fairly quick ships that can get out of the area. Right. What we may end up doing here then is actually transferring our aircraft elsewhere from Ley. He knows that we have zeros at Ley. And the good news is at Ley, we do have engineers. We are building up fortifications, which is nice. I do have a 69 mines, which do help to some degree. It's a level 4 airfield, so at least it has some ability to resist. But this is it, really. We'll have to think about how we respond to the situation here. Kidbatai might be a thing that we could do. It's one of those where it would cost us a lot of fuel, so we do have to be sure that it's worthwhile doing. He's got a little bit of action out here, which is interesting. We'll see, frankly. If he heads for Rabal... not Ribal. If he heads for Rabal, we do have those assets there. It might be worthwhile, yeah. It's likely worthwhile keeping the zeros here. Yeah, see, that's not yet built up. But I could have the base force pushed into Kavyang, or I could continue to push it into Rabal. We'll have to decide on that. Well, in other news, at least our supply is going to make it down here to Talagis. That's nice. Let's see. Did that sub arrive? Yeah, we've got these PT boats here, which are nice. PT boats are a bloody nightmare at times. You can look at that maneuverability, 94 maneuverability. And the thing is, they've got no durability, they've got no staying power. Once they hit, they're gone. But they're still carrying two of these 45cm torpedoes there. Very short ranged, but I mean, like, if you hit with it, it's going to pack a punch. These guys also kind of 45s. They do actually have a little bit more range there at 4,000 yards, but they definitely pack a punch. Indeed. It's an interesting situation. He may go into bombard Ley, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. His likely target is going to be Rabal, but it very well could be. Notice he's got a lot of destroyer escorts here, so he knows there's going to be subs. But, okay. Ideally, one would hope for the mines. It might very well be that we have to put in Kidbatai just to make sure we could win this, but we'll see about that. We do have that as an option. We'll see. A few more days would have been nice. Would have been very nice to have had the level 7 airfield. We did have the actual aviation units arrive here, but they didn't quite get into their positions that we wanted them in. Yeah, you can see them marching. So it might be that we just have them in combat mode. And you can see that we do have these airfields being built up here. It's just we didn't get the actual aviation in there. But, well, this is it. There's only so much you can achieve via actual gunfire. If necessary, I can have zeros moved out of the area. And we do have a Kidbatai. It can be moved in a single turn if we move it full. But I don't know if we want to do that. I mean, we have these carriers that are immediately ready to go. Karga is stood down for the time being. Having that damage repaired there. If I was to work her up, probably take a day. Yeah, I mean, this is a problem, isn't it? You can always hope that you will have preemptive warning, but it looks like it came out this way, so that's something that we do need to recognize as a threat, but not much you can do about it. We are in a bad position. We do have mines here. We have far more mines over here at Rabal. He's got a lot of destroyer escorts, but, well, that said, there's a lot of subs here. There's a lot of actual midget subs. There's PT boats. I don't have that much in the way of actual surface assets, but this is it. We have what we have. It might be worthwhile breaking them into smaller forces, just to make sure they can get in there. The forecast of weather is saying rain. Lays rain as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Always interesting times that we live in there. But if he gives us an opportunity to be able to be in a position to hit this area, I'd be quite happy. Let's take a look. Rabal is 17 hexes from Trunk. Now, we'd need to be within about, I don't know, I'd say about 7 hexes of the enemy. So, we don't have to be that... Yeah, like, for example, that could strike at Lay. Obviously, be in a position there to cover Rabal. If I was to be in a position to cover Rabal and Lay. But I mean, this is it. If he's going to go in there, he's going to come out and retreat. So, he'd want to have some sort of capability. I don't know, we'll discuss that one. We'll have to think about what we want to do on that one. But in all honesty, we're in a position now where he could come in and he could bombard. Which would suck, don't get me wrong, it'd suck. But we have the capability of moving aircraft. Like, I could actually have aircraft just moved inland to Nadzab, potentially. I do have that airfield there. And let's take a look. Secondary road in there. So if I see here, they're moving to WoW. They're moving to WoW. They're moving to Nadzab. So they're 14 miles in there. Obviously, it'd take another 3 days for them to arrive properly. That's the only problem there. Had this been like 3 or so days later, I would have actually been able to make use of Nadzab, but Nadzab can't be hit by bombardment. Aye. What it might be then is we have supply told to actually flow into the interior. Because if I can have that supply protected, then at least it is protected. Yeah. I'm surprised as well, because I had these guys run Naval Surge. So. They're 8 hexes away, so he can go in there and bombard. And the question comes down to which base is he going to bombard. He knows there's zeros here, but this is it. Which base does he think is the real threat? So that's going to give him something to ponder there. Interestingly, we're not seeing carriers, but we'll see. It's really interesting though. I mean, this is a thing. It's different. It's very different. He's coming in a different way. I imagine he will have carriers in the vicinity, so it might very well be that we bring Kitabatai south. It might very well be we do that. Very interesting times. He always manages to catch us out. Maybe it wasn't worth having cargo repaired, but then this is it. You can't predict the future. Cannot predict it. And the good news is, though, if we were to take a look at actually forming Kitabatai up for battle, we have Hiru, Soru, Shokaku, Zuikaku, Kagi. We have Kongo, Hiei, Kirashima. So if I take a look over there, we do have 2 Tone class heavy cruisers in repairs as well. So they're making 8. So I'd probably have to take a Kagi out of here. So if I took a Kagi out, I'd be able to get that 9 hex movement. But I don't think I could probably risk that. I mean, this is it. Major, full speed is a pain in the ass because it does use a lot of fuel. Now, it looks like we've got little fuel over here. And it's 15,755. The reason why it's so low is Infinite Monkey has this habit of refueling everything and like sucking all the fuel away into ships. We do have fuel. You can see that we have all the fuel in these AOs, so we do have fuel that can be moved as well. So don't worry about that. it just likes to do its habit, and it's a good habit to have. It just makes you like worry sometimes. She's like, oh no, where'd it all go? So if I was to take, obviously we'll have the actual aircraft per board. I did have them rest last turn as well, which is nice. So if we were to take a look over here, I wonder if it's due to... Let's see. Yeah, so you can see by dropping those ships that can't make that 30 knots, you can see that we gained that additional mobility. So, that is how a fast Kitabatai would look. You can see that we still have a 9. But I mean, this is it. We may decide to take it another way. So I mean, there we go. I don't think we'll run a Kitabatai like that. But I mean, if necessary, we could bring on, or we could call upon Kongo, Kie, Karashima, Nagato, Musu, Fuso, Yamashiro, Hyuga. Which is quite a lot of force there. This is a good amount of AA. And it gives us a lot of ablative armor, but we'll do it in a different way. I'll likely have them follow behind. So that's kind of how we're looking. Obviously, we'll get things ready. We kind of have things prepared. It's an interesting one, really. It's a very interesting one. He's definitely coming in mind with the bombardment, then. That's interesting. So where's the point that would be great for us? I don't like to restrict my movement. I mean, that's the defensive position of the Bismarck Sea. That's the defensive position, as you would call it. Let's see. It may be the position that we do take. I mean, that would be 7 from Lay. That's 7 from Rabal. Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. We do have the capability to respond via air. The issue is, I mean, this is the thing. He can bombard, but he can only bombard one place with everything. So that's the thing to bear in mind. He can't bombard everywhere with everything. He has to choose somewhere. So there's likely going to be at least one base that is actually still operational. We do have Rabal. That is a larger base. Rabal's likely going to be the target. I'd imagine Rabal will be the target. He may very well split his bombardment and hit both bases. We'll see. In fairness, it's a different situation to what it was in January. And in January, it was a different situation to what it was in December and early January. The situation always develops. But every time, it might not look like it. It might look like... I mean, last time, we have lost each and every time so far. But that's because we're working against a very mobile, a very hard-hitting force. But the thing is, each and every time, it does get harder for him. He's brave to be doing this. He always does manage to find the time to come in. Had we had a little bit more warning, I would have been able to do more. But we have to work with that. Can never have exactly what we want. It might very well, like... It might be that we actually have the Zeros moved inland. Or something of that nature. Had I had this airfield, that'd have been nice, because at least Gaviang would be good. There we go. Hard to say, really. We'll have to figure out our options. We do have options here. It's one of those, really, of where he can come in, but there's a lot of mines. I mean, Lay has some mines. He danced around them before, so go fish. Kind of a pain in the arse. Bombardment's a bit of a pain in the arse, because it's like... There's still a chance you can hit mines, but it's not as great. I don't know. Knowing Danban, he's going to go in and have zero problems, but even if we are bombarded, I can't see what else he can do. We could have Kitabatai coming at mission speed, and it might very well be we're coming at mission speed. I might just simply have the aircraft moved out of the area temporarily. Well, we'll see. It's a shame regarding Karga. Shame that she wasn't ready to move, but I mean, this is it. She would slow us down anyway. We'll see. I mean, the interesting thing is, I don't see anything else. And we do have H6K4s there, we have the Jakes. We also have H6K4s here. We have the G3M2s running naval search over there as well. So we don't see anything else right now. But I don't know. The naval search in this area does tend to be a bit spotty sometimes. It's never perfect. You can never have it what you want. Brahma. So he's 8 from Rabal, he's 8 from Lay, so he can bombard any one of these bases. He could even potentially move on further and pass this area. I think the best option is really going to be a move at cruise speed. If I take a look, if I was to move Kitabatai with the fast elements, that's 9 hexes, so that's as far as we'd move. That would put us inside range of Rabal if I ran extended. So obviously I wouldn't have torpedoes there. But even something like that could be potentially useful, but I don't know. You obviously want to have torpedo capability. We have torpedo capability at 7 hexes, not 8. Now, there might be a way that we can get that. I mean, that's 7, but that's 10. I don't think there's going to be a way we could get 7 and... yeah, just that 1 hex out. But he wouldn't linger at Rabal, likely. He would likely pull out down this way. And we'll have to see. It might be worthwhile full speed. We'll have to make a decision on that. There are a lot of decisions that do go into play in that one, because it is a big, big one. I mean, you look at the last time we ran full speed, we had a lot of time in port. But it might be worthwhile. If we get the opportunity for battle, if we get the opportunity to knock out a lot of ships in that area, it would be worthwhile. It's a shame that we can't bring our entire strength to bear, but I can bring a lot of strength to bear. The BBs obviously take up a lot of fuel, but, well, I mean, this is, in a lot of ways, we are in a better position than we... well, than Japan at this point might be traditionally. I mean, we do have BLeAcHACiD and some Manilla intact. We have fuel and we have oil production, and we've captured it more or less intact, which is quite good. So we do have a lot of it. So we do have a capability. We're not gonna run dry on fuel, essentially. It's never good to have it used, but we'll have to make some decisions. But I mean, this is it. Even with the advent of the division over here, we can manage that. We've got additional assets moving in here. Busy turn. This is what I'm used to. This is what I'm used to from him. We do see these assets over here. But the RN isn't going to be as strong as the USN. Interesting is trying to actually work these at the same time. But in fairness, we're in a we're in a pretty damn strong position here in the Andaman Sea. I do have these zeros here that I can actually run on escort. So any strike that came out here would be pretty well escorted. I do have fighters out this way. We do have, what was it, 8 or 9 heavy cruisers. There's lots of light cruisers. There's lots of destroyers. We do have subs in the area. We do have ample naval surge. We have plenty of bases. All very good stuff. So begin to march to the north. See that we do have these forces here too. Okay. I do have that koi there now. They're marching inland. Yeah, so they'll arrive next turn. He's not moving as far as I can tell, so we can attack there. And this is it. I mean, we got very lucky in the fact that we took Medan intact. And taking Medan intact is a real big one there for us. That's good. I mean, you look there, it's like 210 oil, 200 refineries. It's almost like capturing... It's essentially like capturing BLeAcHACiD and Samarinda intact again. How you doing, melee man? Yeah, I know, this is it. But I mean, this... it is what it is, really. It is what it is. It would be nice, I agree. It would be nice. Yeah, I mean, this is it. As bad as things are at sea, we have had a rough time at sea, traditionally. But we are going strong on land. And this is it. I might go ahead and order a deliberate attack against Rangoon, perhaps. I don't know. I would have preferred to have done it with 2 divisions, really. But this is it, really. Can never have things as we would really prefer. I mean... In fairness, right, okay, so this is the way things are going to go. So, let's say Dadman's mission here is to march upon Pegu. Okay. He'll attack tomorrow on the 8th of February. Likely drive out the Thai forces there. So, they'll either retreat to the south, they're very likely to retreat to the south of Pegu. So, that's the 8th of February. So, what's going to happen on the 8th of February then is we will have the rest of the 33rd Division unloaded here. So, they may continue on to Rangoon. We do have elements here of the Imperial Guard Division that have been unloaded. So they're going to be unloaded, at least in some strength. I have in position here the 1st RCAC division, which gives us 64 AV. I will have the 14th Tank Regiment will be here tomorrow, and then it would arrive here on the 9th. So, on the 9th, well, let's see, I don't know, Rangoon may fall on the 8th, I doubt it. It depends, really. I don't think it would fall, but there is a chance it could fall. But let's say on the 9th, then, we'd have another 57 AV arrive in the form of the 1st RT8 there. So it gives it a little bit more AV. We'd have a tank regiment there. We'd have another 2 tank regiments. I mean, this is it. He's going to fight the battle here, likely tomorrow. If he delays, well, that's essentially doomed himself there. He's doomed anyway, but it essentially does doom himself even further. But let's say he attacks tomorrow the 8th of February. Okay, so he kicks the RTA out. If he wants to move to Bagu, that's 2 days march, my love. He might even need a 3rd day due to any sort of fatigue or anything like that. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of time that he cannot afford. There's no real way he can get to Bagu and kick us out of Bagu. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could attack, but we are going to be able to bring more AV in there. And you take a look at this point. I mean, you see this equipment is possibly going to arrive there. I would like to get them to continue to move in there. It might simply be worthwhile moving the heavy cruisers here to shield ourselves and then keeping these assets moving in. If I could tie them up over here, we'd be able to get these forces in. It just so happens that we have severe storms, which makes it difficult to see exactly what he has there. But I think as long as we can keep these forces moving in here, we'll be alright. Hey, take a look, there's the rest of 5th Division there. If I wanted to, I could probably push that to full speed, and that could probably arrive. Yeah, I mean, if I push that to full speed, it would arrive at Bagu tomorrow, rather than 2 days. And that might be something worthwhile doing, to get it in there. The good news about Bagu is it's actually very well... It's defensible. It's very defensible. We did see him attack over here. We do have a Key 27 that can cover. I do have these Key 43s over here. Now, note their fatigue has dropped off considerably. They were escorting over Rangoon, but obviously nobody flew today, so their fatigue has dropped off considerably. So, I have a capability to have cap here. The cap out, well, I have escort capability in SunYan. I have escort capability over here at Port Blair. We have that capability. These engineers... if I put them on full, well, they'll arrive at Port Blair tomorrow no matter what. If I put them on full, they'd arrive at night, but I don't think it's worthwhile going full for that. I can keep a heavy cruiser there, because we do have 2 heavy cruisers here, which is a pretty good amount of force to resist. I don't know. We'd have to see. As long as, I might put them on full, because at least then they'd arrive in the night phase. But if I take a look, Port Blair is 10 hexes away. These fellows are 4 hexes away. So we'd likely arrive there. At night, I mean, it depends. If he moves at full speed, he can go essentially anywhere in here. But if he moves at full speed, well, how the fuck does he get out? I don't know. It's an interesting move. It's a very interesting move. What I'll probably do is move these transports out of the area just to free up space in the airfields. Probably move the lilies out, move stuff like that out. But we have 36 G3M2s there. If I so wish to do so, I could move up another 36 G3M2s. I do have 27 G4M1s there. So even if I want to... I mean, even with the G4M1s, they might not be able to use torpedoes, but I could still have them use their bombs. And that's still a deadly threat. It's nowhere near as effective. I'd still be as light to keep them a naval search because they do present... They're very useful like that. They do have some amply good range. I probably would have some of them try to run night naval search, or maybe like naval attack at night, but obviously just keep it to search. But very interesting, really. So, there's a lot of options, but honestly, it's not looking bad. I can't see him being able to do what he wants to do here unless it gets very, very lucky. Even down here. Like, it might be that we lose a shitload of midget subs and subs, but he only has so much he can do. There's only so many depth charges he can drop. I mean, this is it. There's mines. There's a lot here. There's a lot. We'll have to see. We'll have to plan and figure out really where to deploy our air assets. Indeed. Okay. I like these sort of turns. But this is one of the turns where it's a shame because this course is in an awkward position. That's usually how it goes. If we had had the prior warning, we would have been able to do more. But this is it. This is a prior warning we get. There's not going to be any more prior warning. That's it. Okay. I mean, Lei is jungle rough terrain, so I think it does mitigate the effectiveness of bombardment. Could we midget sub raid Aussie? Technically, yes, you could have them dropped off via, like, subs that can carry them. The issue is they only have 64 endurance. They're not very quick. Their durability is actually 12, but they'll go down quick. They only have one shot, essentially. You can see their cruise speed there is 6 knots. So the issue is they're likely just going to get destroyed. You can, and it could be something potentially done, but I don't know. Mines are a problem. They're one of those, really. There's something that can work well in mass, but it's one of these things of, like, they're like... I think they're like 4 victory points each. Yeah, they're 4 victory points each. So they're like, they're good as a defensive weapon, really, because you can use them. Excuse me. That's an interesting one. I mean, the good news is we have 27,000 supply here. There's not much you can do. I could even potentially create more midget subs if I wanted to, and it might be worthwhile doing so. Having as much as I can import is worthwhile, just to make sure that we get another chance to hit him. But this is it. It might very well be that I do pull... possibly back. Yeah, it might be that I possibly pull back the land base there to keep it potentially safe. And this is it. We're not quite in a position here to be unassailable. Once we have these bases over here with aviation support, we will be unassailable. I could potentially even move them there, and there would be like a lot of breakdowns, but it could be worthwhile doing. Nadzab is probably the best bet. From Nadzab, I'd still be able to operate. I'd be able to move them inland. I'd still have the ability to operate with torpedoes. There's just not going to be any, like, aviation support there. So they could get stuck on the airfield for a little while, but I can move in aviation support units. And the issue is caught us in a bad time. Had we had the cap running there, maybe on a little bit more range, would have been alright. But then this is it, really. It's difficult because we don't have everything we want. I would have liked to have kept Port Moresby under reconnaissance, but I just don't have recon assets in this area. We'll have some move down then, because I think it'd be worthwhile. You can see that we do have these guys, so... Yeah... There's a lot that we can work with. Yeah, got a H6K force here. And the H6K force here are like running 20. So, I mean, this is it. We're running day. So, he's moved in at full, so obviously he could move from here to here in a single night. Well, yeah, more or less in a single turn. That's the thing with full speed. But if he's moved in here at full speed, which I imagine he has done, he's expended munitions. Sorry, he's expended fuel. That is an intriguing development there. So we know he's got A24 Banshees here. We didn't see any escort with him. So that's interesting. I mean, it might be that we just move the zeros in here. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll have to think about this. There's a few different ways we could potentially do things. We'll find the best way to manage it. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, knowing Dadman, he's a lucky son of a bitch, so he'll probably get away without hitting a single mine, but yeah. Ah, well. If he hits it, we'll repair. We don't have as many assets on the airfields as we once did. The assets are all able to fly out, and it may very well that we fly them elsewhere to where they can be safe. There's plenty of aviation support over here. The ships that are in port, I could get the hell out. So like the Jingei, Kiyokawa, Maru, the actual mine layer could get out of there. These other assets, not so much, but even... Actually, no, to be fair, I could still have them moved over here to Kavieng, and then at least we would be safe. And it probably would be better to have them at Kavieng, because at least then I can actually re-arm Kavieng. I may have the base force put down here at Kavieng. Hard to say. We'll take it from there then, and we'll figure out what our options are, really. Always an interesting day. Always an interesting day. But I'm feeling fairly confident. There's not that much he can do in this area. He can bombard the airfields, but this is a thing. We have the carriers there. We have the carriers in greater strength than we did beforehand. Cargo will have to be worked or to be made ready. But it might be simply a case that we allow her to repair. It might simply be that we allow her to repair. And potentially just have her aircraft move to another airfield in the short term. It is interesting. He's doing this in a different way. We're not seeing the carriers here immediately. But it gives us another opportunity to potentially cause them damage, which is good. That's worthwhile. If I could take the aircraft and move them elsewhere to where they might be safe, it does mitigate the damage he can do. And the damage he does to the airfields can be recovered. I mean, that's the thing, it can and will be recovered. We have a supply position now, which is good. We've got the aviation supports in position as well. He can't destroy all that aviation support. There's 142 aviation support here. It can cause us damage. It can hit ships and stuff like that, but, well, c'est la vie. We'll manage. But it might give us that opportunity to bring carriers in. I could bring them in at full. I don't know if I will or not. It's an option. It is an option. The good news is, well, at least I do have fast battleships that can run with them. It's a shame that we do have one fast battleship that can't run at full speed, which is Congo. No, I don't think it's Congo. I think it might be Hiei. Yeah, Hiei, with that little bit of engine damage, can't run her full 30 knots, which makes a difference. But if we were willing to settle for that lower speed, I could get there. But it might very well be that it might work out like this, where I do have the 4 carriers. I don't know. If we move full, you're better off moving with everything you have, just to make sure you have as much protection, but I'm not too sure. I could potentially move in such a way as to bring a sizable force into a position where it could be within range within a single turn. It's an interesting one, really. We could place ourselves in a position where... I mean, that's... Let's say, then. So, that's 8 hexes. What I'd want, then, is enough range. So, let's say... Let's say that we went to sort of like Kavieng area. And that's kind of like the point at which we'd want to be at. When I can actually strike down into this area here. I don't know, really. It might be worthwhile just coming in at mission speed, and then we have the capability to move to move full if we need to. It's not great to use a lot of fuel, but we'd have that capability if we so wish to do so. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Lots of questions. We don't know what his full capabilities are, so we'll have to take from there. So he's doing something to Susana. He might actually just be transporting that unit out by air, potentially. That's an interesting little take. He might be transferring it down here to Mind now, which is likely what I imagine he's doing, actually. That could be what he's up to. He might be planning to make a tougher stand on Mindanao, perhaps, but I'm not sure. But even as far as it goes to Mindanao, I'll bring in 2 divisions at least. Yeah. So save it again, then. There we go. So I'd like to say a big thank you there, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's been an earlier stream, but it's been worthwhile, I suppose. Have a good one, and I will see you later. If you have enjoyed the stream, do go ahead and follow here. Indeed, good night there, Mexi. Good night, my man. See you later, guys. Have a good one, and I will see you later. Goodbye for now.